feel about the rapper Rick Ross having the same name?
Well, the fact that he stole my name, not that we had the same name, he actually stole my whole story, my identity, the whole thing. Mm-hmm. You know, he built his career off of my legacy.
Oh, no, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. I never wanted to work with him.
I'll buy your masters. You ready? I will buy your masters.
Where the truth about famous people is revealed. Have you ever wondered why 50 Cent is acting so intouchably right now? This is due to the fact that Rick Ross just executed one of the most audacious and brutal maneuvers in modern history. One about which people are often talking. According to some accounts, Ross played Big Meech, and when things went out of hand, Meech thought about executing him. This has completely gotten out of control. Except for Meech, the layout was fairly evident from a distance. He went straight into it despite the warning lights flashing and the streets buzzing. It appears to have been taken directly from a violent crime series season finale. But really, why put your trust in a man who was a jail officer once? One of the fundamental principles of the street game, it's violated by that. History like that doesn't go away, as everyone knows, like a shadow, it pierces through. At the moment, 50 Cent is expressing himself freely.
What I'm doing right now, my shoulder broke, but we still getting to the money. We still count paper. This ain't a pump and dump, baby.
He is making fun of Big Meech and Lil Meech online. The messages are clear and unencrypted. Rick Ross also appears to be taking it all in and laughing even harder each time he shares something. What's more odd about it out here, Meech is grinning and having fun with Ross as if nothing had occurred. After being freed from prison, Meech decided to support an old adversary rather than remain loyal. Someone who has opposed 50 for more than a decade. The entire story was turned upside down by that maneuver. Even though 50 didn't anticipate Meech declaring war, it must have been hard to witness him pose for pictures with Ross after everything. After years of support, it must have looked like the worst kind of betrayal to watch the person he stood up for desert him. And Meech didn't stop there with the sword. Without thinking, he pushed it in furthermore, then came the Floyd Mayweather connection and Lil Meech right next to him. The same Lil Meech who made 50 Cent famous gave him a $5 million opportunity to start his acting career and access to opportunities that most people never obtain. In order to pay tribute to the man who altered the course of your family's history, he is currently writing as if nothing happened and that everything is okay. Cole doesn't even try to explain himself.
I feel bad for Lil Meech. I don't feel bad for no grown man in this planet. Like, I'm a grown man. I gotta feel bad for another grown man. Like, you a grown man too. Ask for my sympathy for you be alright.
Regardless of what some internet pundits like to argue, let's face it, 50 just profited from Big Meech's name. 50 or more worked really hard. He didn't just construct a check. He made it into a business, gave others a chance, maintained his honor, and did everything professionally. Compare that to Rick Ross now. What could Ross offer? Like a disposable pawn in some dirty street chess game, he treated Meech. When it didn't work for him, they dropped him. When it worked, they moved him. Only strategies, no loyalty. Ross acted this out after feigning to have seen the entire blueprint. He sat comfortably out of the way, talking up his name and creating suspense while feigning to be the mastermind. He didn't play on the field like a street magician. He stoked the fire and disappeared. Ross abruptly arrives, claiming a shoulder injury, just as the heat is rising and all eyes are on him. Isn't now the ideal moment? He then promptly shares it on social media to make sure everyone knows about it, as if we should wish him well. Let's not be duped, though. He was cleverly distracted from the real heat, which was being ignited by the streets over the crypto disaster he'd been implicated in by that injury story, complete with smoke cover. A full-on smoke screen was present without asking. After being dragged through the streets due to the notorious Boss token fraud and the crypto disaster, Rick Ross comes out here claiming to have a shoulder problem. Please, damage control was performed there. For good reason. Some began referring to him as Rug Ross, saying that he had betrayed devoted followers who had entrusted him with their hard-earned cash without warning, returning their money, or even providing an explanation. The way it was done was clever. According to reports, he and his colleagues seized the suitcases and disappeared. The moment is also simply too convenient. Only a few days later, Ross was spotted behaving as though their relationship was straightforward and treating Big Meech like a king. It exploded. The crypto bomb, all of those dubious actions are now coming back to haunt him. When things became too heated, Ross pretended to be heartbroken while lying and plotting. However, rumors claim that it was he who energized Meech and urged him to ask 50 Cent for additional money. Ross wasn't just being sleazy, if that's true. In that sort of betrayal, he was playing both sides like a chess master. No better plot twist could be written by you. It's crazy. Big Meech has virtually little money left, but the firm is reacting to him as if he were radioactive. People are staying away from him because they are worried that his presence may damage their brand overall. Do you recall the Wingstop franchises that many believed were providing him with a reliable source of income? Ross allegedly sold off the majority of them behind closed doors, leaving just enough visible to appear authentic. He used the actual funds to covertly establish his own company by investing them in real estate and other low-key endeavors. Clever maneuvers, but the streets are beginning to link. Meech had an opportunity now. He had the opportunity to improve his reputation, change the course of events, and regain some street respect. But when Rick Ross got involved, things quickly got out of control. They made poor decisions. The incorrect business was still operating. Meech must now watch the empire fall apart. Awful move after awful move, it was made worse by Lil Meech, too. He was out there flaunting himself on social media, doing stunts with celebs like Ganana, purchasing pricey things like chrome hearts, and spending money like it was dropping out of the sky. The entire foundation, meanwhile, was eroding beneath him. That luxurious way of life was gone as fast as it had come. Some people are already criticizing it online, claiming that Big Meech's relationship with Rick Ross was phony from the start, nor are they incorrect. It ended just as quickly as it had begun. Michael Rainey Jr. had an opinion too, nor was he bashful about it. He was straightforward in saying that he had no sympathy for any of them. As he saw it, he called it. The setting should have been visible to adult men before it happened. It was clear from the sidelines. Naturally, 50 Cent relished every moment of the mayhem as it happened. He has been stalking about the internet, hurling insults and criticism with his usual accuracy. When 50 is angry, he doesn't simply talk. He throws explosives and the entire block trembles. When he is on a mission, he is in full-on menace mode. DJ Vlad was forced to acknowledge it as well. The last person you want to irritate is someone who is 50 years old. In order to accomplish his goal of simply saying, "I told you," so he will flip the script, stretch it out for months, and ruin everything in the process. This fire isn't just for Big Meech. Let's be clear. When 50 decides it's time for payback, nobody is safe since he is maintaining a list. Rick Ross is familiar with the sensation of being hit. Remember how he publicly made fun of and clowned his own squad in Canada, then attempted to portray it as a strange loyalty test? The purpose was not loyalty. Let's face it, it was clearly dishonest behavior. It is simply more evidence that Ross knows how to play dirty while maintaining a clean image, and there is nothing noble about it. He portrayed a prosperous, famous, and influential future for Big Meech, had him forget his 50th birthday, and acted as though they were close. In the end, it was all smoke and mirrors, even though he had promised to return Meech to the top. Nothing, just words and no action. Whack 100 also didn't hold back. He articulated what a lot of people were considering Ross would have. Acted more tactfully, maintained his composure, and demonstrated genuine intent if he had truly wanted to assist Big Meech. Rather, he went into full clown mode, bumbled wildly in interviews, claimed to be going to purchase the rights to the entire BMF series and attempted to make fun of 50 Cent as like he was in control. The alleged power play was swiftly put to rest and dissolved. Big Meech's name is no longer even mentioned by Ross. He seemed to have vanished from his own world, and why? Because Ross only discusses subjects that will benefit his bottom line. Loyalty is absent when there is no profit. At this point, things begin to become somewhat complicated. There are rumors that Meech's Welcome Home performance was cancelled because of someone other than 50. Yes, it was Ross. Yes, exactly. Ross may have come out of the shadows to seize the party, but some accused 50 of ruining it. Ross, it was said, was trying to keep Meech from glowing in the background. Fake public backing for him while depriving him a big comeback, a bag, and a limelight. Cold-bloodedly walks and smiles, Ross didn't want the focus to be on Meech. That much is now obvious. He didn't want Meech to be the center of attention or shine. In actuality, Ross preferred that Meech remain silent, in the background, and as a supporting player in his own narrative, while Ross continued to be the center of attention, making statements and garnering media attention, another pawn in Ross's imaginary game of allegiance. Additionally, 50 Cent did not scream as the chips landed. He bowed out after dropping one frigid post. The message was entirely clear without being overly sentimental or theatrical. Please don't contact me, and I sincerely hope you have a great day. Cheers to Valentine's Day. The tone was cool and collected. However, the subtext was a warning from someone who waits to make noise until it's time to attack. People were hesitant to use the framework at first. They believed it to be all love. But now things are beginning to make sense, particularly if you listen to that classic BMF song when Ross said, "I think I'm Big Meech." Ross appeared to be expressing respect with that statement. Here's the twist though, what if honoring Meech wasn't the goal? Could Ross have been posing as Meech? It sounds absurd, not at all. Real underworld legends, names, stories, and even the aura that was stolen from those who actually lived that life are the foundation of Ross's complete plan. This covers his looks, music, and commercials. Ross established his empire by imitating people like Meech who developed real street authority. Furthermore, this is not a fictitious conspiracy, there is a pattern, and to those who are paying close attention, it's becoming too obvious to ignore. These are not absurd assertions, these are straightforward facts. Let's take a look back and review everything. For his rap, Rick Ross didn't choose just any old name. The character was inspired by the real Freeway Rick Ross, one of the most famous street stars of the 1980s. Even before the rapper became well-known, there was a man whose name carried a lot of weight as the head of a multi-state company. The rapper used the name Rick to establish a brand, while the actual Rick remained incarcerated. However, Freeway Rick was determined not to forget it once he was out. He even went to court against the rapper after publicly denouncing him for stealing his identity. He had important receipts with him when he filed a lawsuit alleging identity theft and trademark infringement. The case was filed in 2010. The Freeway Rick proved that his persona was credible in public and had something to do with actual occurrences rather than just amusement. The rapper's real name, William Leonard Roberts II, was already well known and prosperous, music deals, fame, wealth, and a history as a correctional officer. But he wore the nickname as though it were his own badge of honor. The court ruling came next in 2013. The rapper won his case because the judge decided that the use of the pseudonym was permitted by the First Amendment. The court essentially ruled that it was free speech, even if his identity, celebrity, and biography helped create the image. The real Rick Ross suddenly lost his claim. Now, however, consider this. Is it implausible to assume that Rick Ross attempted to capitalize on Big Meech in the same way that he had no issue doing so in the past using someone else's name and empire? He acts in a noisy manner, name, reputation, and heritage. If it gives Ross greater power, then everyone can use his playbook. That is not a theory, that is a recurrence from history. The core of this disaster, which is killing everything, is Lil Meech. The industry isn't sure how to perceive him. Is he heedlessly following in his father's footsteps, or is he forging his own path? The movements are not consistent. He seemed to have completely disappeared from the public after making an appearance on one of the most popular TV series. When you turn your back on the hand that fed you, that is what occurs. However, proponents are saying that online, timelines are overflowing with blogs, old interviews are being revived, and digital detectives are tearing up receipts everywhere. Nothing is overlooked in this day of dogs being watched online. The reality is now becoming apparent. Now that Big Meech is back, nothing is going as planned. It's difficult, it's a mess. This story is far from done since 50 Cent is still observing from the sidelines, waiting for the ideal moment to launch another assault. Meech's grand homecoming is beginning to seem like a wasted opportunity. Let's face it, many believed that after serving years in prison, he would return more intelligent, focused, and brighter. Instead, it appears like inexperienced players are making the same mistakes over and over. It was perfectly captured in one online comment. That's new karma and it's hot. Rumor has it that Big Meech even deserted his lifelong companion, Cuffy, someone he's known since he was a kid. One more treachery, another crack in the foundation. On all sides, the faithfulness that once characterized Meech's name is being called into question. Additionally, the internet has never been more targeted. Every picture, caption, and silence is being closely examined. From the beginning, this narrative has been nothing but mayhem. Nothing easy or clear-cut. What do you think, then? When Big Meech resurfaced and aligned himself with Rick Ross instead of 50 Cent, many saw it as a surprising twist, but insiders claim the move wasn't as random as it seemed. Word on the street is, Rick Ross had been quietly fostering that alliance long before Meech's release. Some insiders suggest that Ross's generosity and support during Meech's incarceration wasn't just about respect, it was strategic. Positioning, allegedly, Ross was laying groundwork to reclaim cultural capital and credibility that had started fading amid mounting backlash over the crypto controversy and past law enforcement ties. And while 50 Cent kept the BMF brand alive through the Stars series and handed Lil Meech a breakout role, Ross allegedly offered Big Meech something else, a personal narrative reset. But the gamble may not have paid off. While Meech's image was expected to gain from Ross's celebrity infrastructure, what actually unfolded was a sharp shift in perception. Instead of a comeback, Meech found himself caught in the crossfire between two moguls with competing agendas. Industry chatter points to Rick Ross possibly leveraging Meech's loyalty as a deflection tactic during the peak of the crypto token. Fallout: those who invested in the now-questioned Boss token felt abandoned, and Ross needed a new storyline to regain favor. Enter Meech, but as the dust settles, it's clear that Ross's association with Meech didn't stick the landing. Rumors now swirl that internal stakeholders within the BMF brand felt blindsided, especially given how quickly Lil Meech appeared to switch allegiances online. Even 50 Cent, who typically plays the long game, reportedly pulled back on planned season for promotional events, signaling that the trust may be permanently fractured. And then there's Floyd Mayweather, a surprise new presence in Meech's circle, adding another layer of intrigue. Some speculate that Mayweather's involvement is about more than camaraderie, it may be about controlling the next chapter of Meech's media presence. Meanwhile, Lil Meech's social media posts, full of luxury snapshots and celebrity cameos, have drawn attention not just for their flash, but for what they're missing. Any mention of 50, it's a silence that's louder than words. Observers close to the situation hint that Meech Sr. may be weighing a full brand reboot, potentially with new producers and partners. Yet, the question remains, can a legacy built in the shadows of real street history be rebranded without alienating the figures who kept it alive in the public consciousness? 50 Cent, ever the strategist, hasn't unleashed his full response yet. But if history is any guide, a carefully calculated move is likely in the works. Some even whisper that 50 has already secured new IP rights related to BMF, ready to push. A separate narrative when the timing is right. The chessboard is still set, and as the layers keep unraveling, it's becoming increasingly clear. This isn't just a feud, it's a cultural power struggle, one where loyalty, legacy, and leverage are all up for grabs. Is Big Meech secretly planning retaliation against Rick Ross, or has he decided to stay out of the spotlight after losing? Please share your ideas in the comments section below. Please remember to like, subscribe, and activate the notification bell if you would want to see more real life street stories. This play isn't.